Happy New Year, welcome to the Gear Locker, and thank you for joining us on the first Roast Your Kit episode of the year, episode 5. If you want to find out how to get your kit in this next episode, wait till the end of the video, and also to see my favorite kit that was sent in this past month. If you're unfamiliar, Roast Your Kit is the series where you guys send me kits, I share them with all of you guys, and I try not to be too mean about it. In fact, I'm a little too nice when I roast them. You guys absolutely crushed it with this set of kits, and I'm really excited to show you because we have a huge range. I say we start with the historical kits, and we have quite a few of them. The first kit comes from Persching Cruz, or Cruz Persching, and he sends in a Soviet-Afghan war kit. And while I have to say I have mixed feelings about the camouflage pattern, you wear it well. It's a KLMK silver leaf pattern, outfitted with a Chi-Com chest rig and blue beret. He runs an E&L AKMS with the appropriate belt and pouches for the kit. He notes that the only thing that he's missing is the 6B3 body armor, which I guess is iconic, but let's take a look at the reference photos. In the center, you see that they're not wearing the body armor, but also have a different pattern chest rig. I do see the chest rig and the body armor that you're talking about in this very last photo. Regardless, I think you've done pretty darn good with this kit. I have a couple things I'm curious about though, and maybe you can help me out in the comments below. But number one, you mentioned the blue beret, which I think is a cool touch, but I don't know if this would necessarily be something seen in action in Afghanistan. I don't see it in either one of these photos, but maybe it was used, maybe it was just an on-base thing. I don't know, let me know. However, I'm also not seeing the gold belt buckle on your kit on these other kits. It's possible, again, that they were from other photos and everything, and I know you mentioned that a lot of what you based this kit off of was things in books and magazines. However, for these digital pictures, I definitely see the aesthetic you were going for. I'd absolutely love to see just a couple more details out of this kit. Something like swapping out the headgear, or what kind of pack did they wear? That would be a really cool addition to help build this impression out. Regardless, I think you've done a pretty good job here. Maybe it's just my ignorance speaking here when I give this rate, but I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Our next kit jumps ahead in the timeline just a little bit with a 24th Infantry Division Operation Desert Storm kit. This comes from Stiles V. Laudner, and he notes that while it is a work in progress, he does have a lot of the details and things he wanted to include here, like running a PASGIT helmet with DBDU cover, PASGIT vest, Alice web gear, which of course has the standard 2 magazine pouches, 2 canteen pouches, the lot like that. He wears the CPOG chemical suit with the 6 color chocolate chip BDUs underneath. He has the appropriate M17A2 gas mask and gas mask bag on his hip, and also wears the NBC rubber gloves. No doubt this is a very warm kit. A couple of things that he notes straight out the gate that are incorrect would be his rifle, that being an M16A3, meanwhile it should be an M16A2, and the Sellstrom goggles. He notes that he uses these for Airsoft, although they are not necessarily accurate to the impression. Let's take a look at his reference photos now, and I would basically say you killed it. You did great on this kit. While I do see some things that are not in the reference photo that are in yours, and vice versa, I would think it's suffice to say that it's relatively accurate overall. Naturally, there are improvements to be made, such as the ones that you've mentioned. I'd also love to see a deep dive of the pocket stuff. One of my favorite parts about historical impressions is the documentation of the things that soldiers carried with them. Some people call it bunk litter, some people call it details. I just think all of it's really cool, so maybe diving into what else you carry in addition to just the standard gear would be a cool thing to see. Overall, Stiles, I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10 as well. It's not a bad kit at all, but as you and I had mentioned, there are of course some improvements to be made. All right, that one was way too recent. Let's go about 20, 30 years into the past with ChrispCass's 173rd RTO impression from the Vietnam War. This guy has sent in before, and he is an attendee of Broken Arrow events, and definitely one of the hard chargers when you get out onto the field. He's got the full M56 web set with the correct helmet cover, uniform, M16A1, lots of good details here to fill out the basic standard infantryman impression. There are 2 things that trigger me beyond belief, and I hate that I just said that word. Number 1, the shotgun shells in your helmet band. Without a shotgun, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that move. Maybe the minor necessity like a C-Rat spoon or something in my helmet, but absolutely nothing more. And the other thing, shouldn't have even included this kit for this. You have, hanging off of your rucksack, an Alice 1-quart canteen cover. The sin of all sins in Vietnam War reenacting. I'm sure this was just one that you had that you needed to carry an extra 1-quart canteen in, but either go with no pouch or the correct pouch. Regardless, I give you huge props for running the prick on your back. That is a very heavy piece to run alongside your rucksack, so power to you, man. You did well with this. And there was one reference photo of the 173rd that I thought of that I had to include. I didn't include the ones you sent because this looked just like you, with the exception of the helmet and the goggles and things like that. This RTO also has a very similar setup, except he's got the appropriate canteen cover on his ruck. Regardless, I think you did a great job with this impression. Because of those two things, I'm going to take a couple points off. Still, Chris, you did awesome with it. 8 out of 10. Good job. But on the opposite side of the war, we have a 1960s PAVN. This is also from someone who sent in on the last episode, but also wanted to showcase his impression here in this one. This kit comes from Rock Ape History, who is working on a channel himself, and he wanted me to shout him out for that. So go check him out. His PAVN kit here has only shown improvement since the last time he sent it in, with his custom uniform, all the pouches on his belt, his correct AK setup, and his dyed chest rig. I love the little knickknacks and pouches that you have set up on your belt. I think those are super cool, and definitely some GI pickups and things that you'll see PAVN soldiers doing. However, I do notice that angle head has the side guards on a switch. Another ultimate sin for Vietnam War reenacting. Either shave those off or switch the light entirely or don't wear the light at all. Compared to the reference, you look like you fit right in, although these guys are not wearing the chest rigs, instead they have satchel bags or hip bags. Still, Rock Ape History, I think you did a great job with this kit. That one inaccuracy is gonna kill it. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, but you still did fantastic on it. Nice job. All right, last one from the pre-1990s, and we have an Operation Eagle Claw 1980s Delta Force Point Man impression, coming from a fan favorite, Xander E. Dev. And yet another one is knocked out of the park by this guy. The classic faded jeans, the black jacket, the very heavy and oblong looking web kit is incredible. I love the look of this kit. The cotton grease gun magazine pouches mixed with the nylon canteen pouches on the back is a nice touch. It's a cool combo and something that you don't really see once you get into that later Alice equipment. I absolutely love that grease gun with the extended suppressor and that mag light. Very cool combo. And to nobody's surprise, if we take a look at the reference photos, you can barely see any differences. The iconic navy beanie and the dyed jacket is right there, as well as the jeans. Xander, you crushed this kit as always, and I highly recommend you guys check out this guy's kits. Easy 10 out of 10 in my book. Nice job. And we have another kit from another fan favorite, Kestrel 074. Here we have an SOF kit from Metal Gear Solid. And no, this is not a real life impression kit, but a video game kit that I thought was cool enough to include, so hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I have not played any of the Metal Gear Solid games. In fact, I don't really play video games at all, but this kit looks super cool. He mentions that he did buy most of it from Oxide after he did his video, but I appreciate that 90s VBSS style loadout. Some of the details include the CVC helmet with holes cut in it, the CWU-27/P flight suit that was dyed gray, cool detail, ABA armor, vests, and other equipment, as well as the Black Hawk rappelling harness. Taking a look at the video game photo, I guess some art from the video game, you see so many similarities that you absolutely nailed. Of course, there are some things like you mentioned with the mask and the tank in the back that you weren't able to purchase, but those would be really cool additions to see later on. I'd also love to see if that looks like a Mac 11 in his hands. I'd love to see that kind of pistol, submachine gun used in your kit, but I understand running the CAR 15. Cool kit regardless. Nice job on this one. With those details changed, it'd be an easy 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 for now. First video game kit we've seen, and I'll give it a pass because it's really cool. And here we have a series of kits. Now, normally I only allow one kit per person. However, these were unlike anything I had ever seen before, so I wanted to include all three. So instead of showing you his kit and then the reference photos, I'm gonna show you both at the same time. There's 3 to go here, and they are all absolutely unique and incredible. So let's dive in to the first kit, which is a 1979 Presidential Guard kit from Oriental Airsoft. Now you might be wondering where this kit comes from, and this is from South Korea. This Presidential Guard kit has really cool details and things that are very unique to Korea. First of all, that BDU looks like a 1980s bowling arena carpet threw up all over it. I have never seen anything like that, and it is one of the coolest patterns I think I've seen on this channel yet. He's rocking the K1 gas mask bag with the appropriate suspender set for this kit, as well as an M80 helmet with the cover. I'm just like enamored by that pattern. It's super cool. For this one, you've nailed the kit, so easy 10 out of 10. Let's check out another one of yours. Stepping forward in time to 2004, you have your Tonghab kit, which Tonghab is the name of the camouflage pattern used by the South Korean Army. You're using the same M80 helmet, but this time with the other cover and IFF band, a flak vest, infantry vest, and appropriate BDU for the kit, But you do note that unfortunately the flak vests were not really photographed or used as often as they should. I still think it's a cool inclusion here. Your kit looks like it could be placed on any one of these guys and it would match perfectly. So that's of course an easy 10 out of 10. Let's check out the last one, and honestly my favorite from your lot. Here we have another South Korean kit, but this time with the Granite B camouflage pattern. And as you can see, as soon as I dropped him into these photos, I kind of lost him because of how well he fits in. So I put a red circle around him, and I also want you to note that he's standing next to what I believe is a North Korean soldier impression from one of his buddies. But we're going to be focusing solely on the South Korean kit here circled. This impression uses the appropriate KHB helmet with the cover. The load-bearing equipment or vest is the MPBA with the KFLC pouches. Of course, he's got the Granite B uniform BDU and his Woodland K1 gas mask bag. He notes that this would fit anywhere within the 2018 to 2022 timeframe because various units use this kind of kit from anywhere in those years. Regardless, Oriental Airsoft, this is such an easy 10 out of 10 for you, man. I love how well you nailed these impressions. This is what impression building should be, so huge props to you. Nice work. And now it's time for the last 4 kits. Of course, the last one being my favorite one that was sent in. These 3 kits, before we get to my favorite, are all modern German impressions. As you know, that's exactly what I do on this channel. That's my bread and butter. That's what I love. And all 3 of these guys nailed it. So let's dive in. First one comes from Steinmarter Surplus, who has sent in the past. But this time, he's come up with a German kit to share with us. And this one I'm gonna call the KSM Freestyle Kit. Kampfschwimmer over the last 5 to 10 years have used a lot of different equipment. This one I would say fits more in the last 5 years, as he's also mentioned. I call it a freestyle kit because I couldn't exactly match it up to one reference photo set or another. It looks like you've used a lot of the equipment that they have used, but in your own form. I think that's a fair way to go. In all 3 of these photos, you're running the Corinthia Spesker jacket, which is such a nice jacket, and definitely something seen with the SOF units over in Germany. You've got Watana Pyrad pants, not only in that 3-farb on the far left photo, but also in the multi-tarn in the other 2. In addition to having a multi-tarn helmet cover and a multi-tarn Pyrad top. Those are super cool pieces and props to you for running it. Let's dive into the reference photos to see how it matches up. And as I mentioned, I couldn't exactly place this in one reference photo set or the other, which is not a problem. I would say the photos that you put with multi-tarn fit solidly into the Mali deployment or even some of the trainings as I've pictured here. But I still included your other photo over here on this side because I wanted to show the variety. I think you did it very well, and I love that you have so many cool details, especially rare bits that you can't really find on the secondary market. Steinmarter Surplus, easy 10 out of 10 on this one, nice job. Our next kit from another repeat offender, Unit Force Flus, is a modern KSK impression, although this time with a G27. And I'll be honest, this is not very different from the last kit that he sent in. He's running magazines and a rifle that are replicas of the G27A2. This G27 build is based off of the ENC, which is relatively close in accuracy. You've got lots of great details, and I honestly think the clone plate carrier and pouches look pretty good. They're not issued ones, but they look fairly well made and accurate, so I'll give you props there. The one thing that does bug me about this kit is gonna be that uniform. As we just mentioned with Steinmarter Surplus's kit, getting a multi-tarn uniform is not that easy, nor is it cheap. So I understand why people go for the replicas. However, there are definitely some improvements to be made on these replicas, and I'd love to see them swapped out in the future. I still give you props for putting together a multi-tarn kit, but those things definitely detract from the overall accuracy of it. For that, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I know we moved by quickly, but we've seen this kit before. That G27 is really the cool piece here. And our second to last kit comes from another fan favorite, 54 SKP Kuchen, who shows us his SEK Polizei Height Intervention Unit kit. This is very similar to all of his other German police kits, however, this one is specific for rappelling and moving in vertical ways. I think these kits are absolutely awesome, and I love when he submits them because he's always got a new variation every time. We still have a lot of the same details that we love seeing, like the UF Pro uniform, Ops Core high cut, and some of the pouches and details. He notes that this is from the late 2010s during some protests that he pulled these pictures from. And you can see in the reference photo, he looks like he could fit right in. As always, 54 SKP Kuchen has crushed this kit, and I love that he sent it in again. So thank you very much for doing that. Easy 10 out of 10 as always. And before we get to my favorite kit that was sent in this episode, let's talk about how you can get yours in episode 6. The deadline to get your kits in this next episode is February 6th. Of course, sticking with tradition, we're going with impression kits only. So if you want your kit featured and rated on this Roast Your Kit episode, send me 3 things. Number 1, I need photos of you in your kit. Number 2, I'm gonna need you to send me reference photos. These are absolutely crucial to be able to determine the accuracy of these kits, so don't forget to send some. And lastly, I'm going to need a kit list. As you can see in these videos, I don't go too deep into the kit lists anymore, but I still look through them to be able to pick out some iconic pieces, and I love to see and learn what's going on. So don't forget to send me those 3 things. And a bonus 4th, if you really want to, send me things that you want to promote, whether it's your group or your Instagram page, YouTube, whatever the case is. As a reminder, these are all due by February 6th and no later. Episode 6 is gonna release on February 10th, so stay tuned for that, but also check out a lot of the other really cool content I'm gonna be putting up in between then. Not only do I have deep dives of some of my own impressions, but I talk to some really cool people that you guys are gonna wanna see. And last, but certainly not least, is my favorite kit that was sent in, something that is so near and dear to my heart that unfortunately I had to give up not too long ago. And this is Felix from Indonesia's 2000s Fernspaher kit. Now, I was not at all aware of the Bundeswehr collecting and reenacting sphere in Indonesia. However, taking a look at these kits, I can say that you guys are absolutely crushing it. This is the level of detail that I'd love to get to. You have included so many details here, but you've also nailed the overall look, and wearing an impression is super important as well. So let's dive into some of the details. Of course, you have the G36KA1, with the C-length stock, the KSK top rail, MP7 sights, EOTech, but you have that AG-36 grenade launcher. Oh, I love it. It looks like a couple other of your buddies have it too, so it's really cool to see multiple of them in action. That old school drop leg panel with the pouches that you have to pull the tab and then release the buckle, that's super cool as well. And I love that mosquito vest. I regret selling mine not too long ago because this is such a heavy but iconic looking piece of equipment. You can load so much in these things, and I think it's really cool that you guys have all utilized it here to its full capacity. You've got a variety of rucksacks, but primarily from Berghaus, and those are iconic pieces to these Fernspaher kits. Other small details you'll see are the Glock 81 knife, the Bundeswehr Boonie hat, the t-shirt, all these little things that help flesh out that kit. So overall, Felix, you crushed this. But before we go, let's take a look at those reference photos. And we pulled up one from a book that was titled Die Fernspaher der Bundeswehr. It's, you could drop yourself right into this, same pixelated graininess and all, and it would be no different. You crushed this impression, dude. And this makes me want to build one of these kits again. Incredible job on this one, Felix. Thank you so much for sending it in. All right, that's gonna wrap up this episode 5 of Roast Your Kit. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you got a really good taste of all these different kits. Send yours in if you wanna see it in the next one. This is the Gear.Locker, and we'll see you guys in Roast Your Kit episode 6 and all the other ones between. Please don't forget about those. Thank you. Oh, stupid.